What's going on, everybody? Henry Washington here from BiggerPockets. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be teaching you 4 ways you can start to understand what a good deal actually looks like in your market, in your neighborhood, in your neck of the woods. All right, before we jump into that, why don't you go ahead, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button so you can stay abreast of everything we've got going on here at BiggerPockets. And also, if you like this video, give me a follow on Instagram. I'm at the Henry Washington on Instagram. Finding good deals is essential to the life of a real estate investor. It's how you make money. But when you're brand new, it can be super overwhelming to even understand how to even figure out what a good deal looks like. I mean, the market's crazy hot right now and people are overpaying for properties. So how the heck are you supposed to figure out what a good deal looks like? All right, y'all, before we get started, I wanted to give you a little background about me and my investing journey and about how these tactics really helped me to get started. When I first got started in real estate, I really just made a decision that I was going to figure things out. I had no idea what a good deal was. I barely knew how to find houses for sale like on the market. My first thought was, let me just get myself around people who are actively doing deals. The more I started to do that, I started to learn these methods that I'm sharing with you. These 4 tips are 4 things that I did when I first got started and things that I still do today to try to understand my market and what's going on. So please stick around to the end, take some notes, and then put these plays into practice because I promise you they can help you become an expert in your market. All right, so here we go. Here are 4 ways you can start to understand what a good deal is, especially in your market. Number 1, ask a seasoned investor. Find somebody in your area, in your market, or in the market you're looking to buy property in who is actively doing deals and just ask them. Ask them, hey man, tell me what your last deal looked like. What'd you buy it for? What market was it in? What area was it in? What city was it in? What'd you put into it for renovations? What'd you sell it for? Did you rent it? What'd you rent it for? Start to ask these questions. And what you'll start to find is that people love talking about their deals. I talk about my deals all the time with people when they ask me about them. And you're doing 2 things when you do that. You're starting to gain the information you're looking for. You're learning from a successful investor where they buy their deals, what they're paying for their deals, maybe how they're finding their deals, how much they're putting into them, how much they're renting them for, how much they're selling them for. This is all valuable information that you need to be writing down and saving so that you can remember that as you start to go and look for those good deals. The second thing you're doing when you're talking to people about what they're buying deals for and how they're building their business is you're building rapport with that person. You're building rapport with a seller who's actively doing deals. And that's huge because once you go out and start finding those deals, maybe you don't have the money to take it down, but now you've got somebody who you know you can take that deal to and say, hey, maybe can you partner with me on this? Hey, can you take this deal down and let me watch you and see what you do, right? Now you've got something of value that you bring to them and it can really help you get going and really catapult your business. The second way you can start to understand what a good deal is in your market is to ask the professionals, right? Who are the professionals? Well, the professionals are real estate agents, but not just any real estate agent. You want to ask investor-friendly real estate agents. Why is that important? A real estate agent who isn't an investor themselves or who doesn't primarily work with investor clients might not understand the numbers, or truly they might not understand what a good deal looks like. So you need to ask a real estate professional who is either an investor or who only works with investor clients. And what that means is that real estate agent is probably around other real estate agents who work with investors and around other investors all the time. And that puts them in proximity to deal flow. It also helps them understand not only the market, but what people are paying for those deals. And so you can ask them, hey, in this part of town, what do you typically see people who are investing buying their properties at? What price point? And then what are you seeing them selling their properties at? Or what price point do you see them charging for rent? And you'll start to glean some of those nuggets about what a good deal looks like in different areas of that town by speaking to that professional. You'll also be building a relationship with an investor-friendly agent. And that's huge because it's a great source of deal flow. Investor-friendly agents typically have pocket listings, which are listings that are deals that aren't going to get listed on the MLS, or for some reason that seller doesn't want to list them on the MLS, but is willing to sell that deals. And so they kind of put that bug in that agent's ear to say, hey, if you come across somebody who might be interested in something like this, go ahead and send them my way. And so you are going to gain access to other investors and other deals by building that rapport, as long as you're continually having an open dialogue with them about kind of what they're seeing in the market. You'll start to understand what a good deal looks like in the markets that they operate in. Tip number 3, this one's going to involve you getting your hands a little dirty. You can go and look for yourself at what people are paying for properties. So you can go on an app like Zillow. Everybody's got access to Zillow, and you just filter for the neighborhoods that you're looking for. And then you filter for sold properties, and you can filter for sold properties in 3 months, 6 months, in the last 3 months, in the last 6 months, right? In the last year, 2 years. The idea is that you filter for properties that were sold in the neighborhoods that you're interested in. And then as you filter and find those properties that are sold, you start to look for the ones that sold for the least amount, and then make note of those addresses, right? So write down those addresses in those neighborhoods of the properties that sold for the smallest amount. And then you can take that list and you can go to your city records, your county records, or you can go to PropStream or Deal Machine or any source that would allow you to access the owner's information. And what you're looking for there is you're looking for LLCs or corporations that own those properties. And the reason you're looking for that is that's probably an investor. And so you will then know, hey, this is what an investor paid for a property in this neighborhood. Now, does that make it a good deal? Absolutely not. You don't know. It's a good gauge to know what other investors are paying for properties. And so once you write down all the properties that this LLC or these corporations bought in the neighborhood you're looking to buy, you can then go to the state website that has all the LLC information, and you can actually reverse look up the LLC and find the owner of the LLC. Now, sometimes you'll get the registered agent instead of the owner, and that's okay. You can then look up that owner, look up his information or her information, and then you can look that up on True People Search, which is like a free website where you can look up people's information. You can get a phone number for that person and then give them a call. You can call them and say, hey, I'm Henry. I'm buying property in XYZ part of town, and I saw that you own several properties there. I was just wondering if you'd like to go to lunch. I'm also an investor. I'm always looking to network with other investors. I just love to take you to lunch and learn a little bit more about how you're operating. And now you're building rapport with the seller. And then when you get them to lunch, you can start asking them those questions about, hey, what are you doing with these properties? Are you renting them? Are you selling them? Right? And you build that rapport, and it helps you get the information to know, hey, what's this investor buying for? Right? And so what you should be looking for when you're looking for these properties that sold is also looking for corporations or LLCs that own multiple properties in that part of town. Because then you know they're a pretty active investor, or they're heavily invested in that area. And so they might have a better sense than somebody who just has one property of what a good deal truly looks like in that area. And the fourth tip is to know the rules of thumb. And so there are a couple of rules of thumb. I'm sure there's several videos out there on BiggerPockets that talk about these rules, but we'll give them a rundown. So the 2 rules of thumb that I use to kind of quickly help me determine if what I may be looking at or going to look at is a good deal or not: the 70% rule and the 1% rule. And so let's jump into the 70% rule. So the 70% rule basically says you want to buy a property at 70% of its market value minus the repairs that it's going to need. And so let's put that to some numbers. We're going to use round numbers because I'm not great at math in my head. And we're probably going to use small numbers because, well, it's just easier to math small numbers. I understand many of you aren't going to be able to buy a property for $100,000 where you live, but we're just talking these numbers for the math's sake. So let's say you buy a property and the value of that property after it's fixed up is $100,000. The 70% rule says you need to purchase that property at a 30% discount, which means you can't pay more than $70,000 for that house. Now, if that house needs some work or repairs, in this example, let's just say it needs $20,000 worth of repairs. That means you now have to subtract $20,000 from that 70, and that gives you your purchase price. So that would put you at a purchase price of $50,000. So the 70% rule says if a house is worth $100 and it needs $20,000 $100,000 of repairs, you can't pay more than $50,000 for that house. So the next rule of thumb that I look out for is for you landlords. And we're talking about the 1% rule. The 1% rule says the rents that you're going to get for that property need to equal 1% of your all-in purchase and renovation price. And the example that we're using, if the house is worth $100,000, but we're paying $50,000 because it needs a $20,000 renovation, and the rents are $1,000 a month after it's fixed up, you're well over the 1% rule because your all-in costs are $50,000 plus $20,000. So you're all in for $70,000, but your rents are $1,000, which is higher than 1% of $70,000. All that means is anything above 1% is probably just above break even. So you know you're making money. So ideally you want to be higher than 1%. These rules, both the 70% rule and the 1% rule, are rules of thumb, not rules of law. So you don't always have to hit those numbers in order to know that you're getting a great deal, because there's other factors that come into play, like location and crime and all these other statistics that also come into play to let you know if a deal is a good deal. But they're rules of thumb for you to kind of bounce it off in the back of your head to let you know, like, hey, this might be a good deal. What do you think? Have you tried something like this in your market when you were trying to learn what a good deal was? Leave a comment below and let me know your story. All right. Now I know I told you a couple of good tips for understanding what a good deal is are to either know a successful real estate investor or know a successful real estate agent that's also an investor. And you may be thinking, how do I even find people like that? The best place to find a successful real estate investor or a real estate agent who's also an investor is at your local real estate investment meetups. There are meetups all over the country. You can also check out BiggerPockets for local BiggerPockets meetups. Get yourself into these rooms. Try to find as many meetups as you can and make it a point to put yourself in these rooms as often as you can. The more you're in these rooms, the more you'll start to notice who the big movers and shakers are. Who are the people that are doing deals? You'll start to realize that because you'll see them all the time. You'll see them talking about their deals. You'll see other people wanting to talk to them about their deals. Those are the people you need to be connecting with. Also going to be able to find those investor-friendly real estate agents because they're going to be at real estate investor meetups. So the likelihood that they're either an investor or work with investors is super high. And the best way to find these is just Google it. You can literally Google real estate investor meetups in your city, your town, your area. You're going to get a bunch of options, and then you can just go to the ones that fit your time schedule. And if you don't find any options, well, you can create your own right here in BiggerPockets by going to the BiggerPockets.com meetup section and create your own meetup. And then people will come to you and you can find these people. All right, folks, if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and hit that bell button so you can be notified when we drop more awesome content. Again, follow me on Instagram. I'm at The Henry Washington on Instagram. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll see you at the closing table.